Do you guys believe in things happening for a reason? Because I do. I came to London to do some cool stuff. Ride the big buses, look at the scenery, say it's London baby like I'm Joey from Friends.
London baby! London baby!
And have a good time. But while I'm here, I realized two things. I miss Catfish, so I started watching it again. And while I was doing that, I got a message from one of my subscribers saying, "Have you seen Bobby?" And I said, "What the fudge is Bobby?" Apparently, it's a Netflix series on a famous case that happened in London itself. And there's a girl who had been catfished for 10 years. And it's a show called Sweet Bobby. I watched the documentary yesterday and today I'm doing a deep dive on it. So if you haven't watched it, maybe you should. Or if you just want to watch my version, I think both are going to be good. I'm going to try and break down this because it is probably the craziest twist in history. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. But at the end of this, I will, because obviously I just thought like, wow, what a coincidence. I'm in London. I like Catfish, and this is the show that people have pitched to me. So I can't wait to take you through it. It's a long video. It's a deep dive. I hope you enjoy it. Please consider subscribing and also follow me on my Instagram. That way you can give me ideas like this one. And I'm so glad that I actually found out, because I wouldn't have known that it was on Netflix. This case has been famous. It's actually started a podcast and even had multiple videos done on it, but it's only just now got its Netflix release. And it's done with the real person and the real Bobby. Let me take you through it, okay? Sweet Bobby is a funny name. It sounds like Magic Mike, but like Indian. And also, I just want to say Bobby is a very specific, because you think like brown people, you're not Bobby. You know what I mean? You're like, Ravi, something like that. Bobby is like the name that you give to like a brown person who's living in England, because it's like Bobby. It's like a weird mix. So I'm like, okay, wow. Sweet Bobby. Sweet Bobby.
Tell me about the first time you meet Bobby.
I was 32 in a long-term relationship.
So this is Kirat, and she is the main character in all of this. She's the one who's getting catfished. And my question to you when you're watching this whole thing, and I want you to reply or comment at any point, do you think she's truly the victim or is she just too gullible? Because I've seen lots of comments on the YouTube trailer saying she is very gullible. I've seen some saying she's a victim, and I don't know where I stand. While I watch this, I guess I'll develop a perspective. We start off at a club in Brighton Beach. She's 32 already, and she sees Sweet Bobby dancing. And she's like, oh, cool, I've been talking to him for months. Let me say hello.
All my friends are getting married, and I just felt, when's it going to be my turn? But then I see this tall man in a turban.
Okay, you're at a club, you're 32, you're asking when am I gonna get married? Maybe when you're not in the club and you're 32, you know? You know what I mean? I can't be at a rave asking when I'm going to finally get silence and peace and quiet. You gotta actually do the thing that you're trying to do, you know what I mean?
I've been talking to him online for the last few months. His name's Bobby Jandu.
Bobby Jandu at the club. It's too real for me already. There's too many brown people. Hey bro, do you want to go clubbing today? Or meet some hot mamacita? No, I'm good. I'll stay at home, okay? If mamacitas want to find me, they'll knock on my door. It'll happen.
Bobby. And I'm like, it's Kirat. He's like, who? And I was like, Kirat. From Facebook. We've been talking, but the music was loud.
Okay, I feel like this is a red flag. I'm just going, I don't know, maybe we need a counter for red flags. Number one, Bobby is... Actually, could we put that up? Red flag. Number one, the music's not too loud, right? I'm telling you from a guy's perspective, if you see a girl and you're like, oh, she's cute or something, and your friends or anything, you see her from across the room, you're like, oh, hey. There's no way. Even if you're sauced as hell, you still be like, damn, that's that Facebook girl. It's Mark Zuckerface. I like you. There's no way. You'd be like, who? Kirat? What is that? Is that you? No, I never heard of it. I never even... Kirat, whoa. That sounds like fun though.
And I was just like, maybe he can't hear me properly and he's drinking. Bobby started messaging me.
So she's already excusing him. She's like, man, Bobby just don't recognize me. It's been 4 months. We've been talking on Facebook. Maybe one of us is catfish, like one of us is way uglier, so we don't even exchange like conversation. I don't know how you could like look at a friend and be like, all right, he doesn't remember. I'd feel a bit touched. I'd be like, damn, I don't care how drunk you are. You should know me. But she excuses that. They go home and it's months more. and then they're talking on Facebook now.
About 4 months before I met him in Brighton, because we had mutual connections. Bobby's younger brother, JJ.
That's almost never a good thing, right? Like, okay, most of you people watching this probably don't know what the hell Facebook even is at this point. At some point, you can see your mutual friends. Mutual friends is like friends you have with other people. And it's like not always a good thing, right? You know what I mean? Like, why would that work? Sometimes in dating, it's like, let me introduce you to a friend in our circle, but you don't know them. And that's awesome. But most of the time on Facebook, it's like, there's a reason I'm not your friend. I don't really get along. My friend gets along with you, but I hate you. But for whatever reason, she's like, someone I know knows him, we'll be friends. And that's how this starts. But also, Kirat's cousin, Simran, is dating Bobby's brother, JJ. Lots of brown people in the story, you're gonna have to figure this one out, okay?
JJ was dating my baby cousin, Simran. Bobby comes from a well-respected family in the Kenyan community.
They're also from Kenya, by the way, which initially I was like, what? Because they're Sikh. I did not know that, but it makes complete sense considering I'm from South Africa. And, people are like, well, you're brown. I don't think I'm as brown, but I'm pretty brown too, so it makes sense.
He has quite a hoity-toity kind of lifestyle. He's happily married.
This is how you know they're English. They say things like hoity-toity. Oh, I met Bobby and he was a little hoity-toity kind of guy. Oh, you didn't recognize me, but he was smashed, mate. I love how English people talk. I would live here if I could. If the pound didn't pound me in the butt every time I actually paid someone for something, I'd live here. It's a really good money, but not for me because I don't make it.
He's a cardiology consultant, but after a while, things started to go wrong in Bobby's life.
Oh yes, of course, Bobby is at a club. So now they're mutual friends, right? Kirat's in a relationship. She doesn't explain that much. Bobby's also married. She didn't really explain that either. But turns out Bobby's life is like hoity-toity. He's a pretty extravagant man. He's got a wife, but unfortunately, not anymore because he filed for divorce. Can you imagine if people said that? Like, I have a wife, but like random, I don't actually, but I used to. Reveal the cutscene. Don't have a wife anymore. Used to. Whoops. Whoopsie. Where is she? Gone.
His wife cheated on him. I ended up sharing. I was 32 and me and my partner had been together on and off since I was 18.
God. Okay, so let's get this straight. Bobby's wife cheats on him. She's like, Bobby is nice, but Ravinda is nicer. Then we have Kirat, who's been in a relationship since she was 18. She's 32 now. That is, if my math adds up, at least 14 years. Been in a relationship for 14 years, not married. That guy needs to be kicked to the curb. I don't know how you could be with someone for 14 years and not pop the question. If you pop in that pussy for 14 years, you should at least pop the question, I feel like. I'm just saying. But then she explains that they've been on and off. But her version of on and off is so different to everyone else's.
But as soon as we got close to getting married, he'd just get cold feet. He'd disappear for a year. And then as soon as I kind of tried to move on, marriage.
Okay, so that's not on and off, right? Like if you leave for a year, that's called a voyage, basically. Like it's not like, where's your boyfriend? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. Turned his location off like a year ago. Maybe I'll try and meet someone new and he'll come back. That's crazy. That's not a relationship. That's a relationship that she's in. So I don't know if this is a red flag, but it's definitely an orange flag that it seems to me that Kirat is not really... It doesn't seem to me that she understands relationships or has enough self-worth to be like, I don't want to put myself in this position. Having a relationship on and off for 14 years really tells me that she's not maybe okay with herself to be alone and stuff, and maybe will settle for people because like no person in their right mind is letting someone walk in and out of their life whenever they want. That's not good for your self-esteem. So I don't like that that's happening. But anyway.
I dreamed of getting married and having a family early. That's what matters to me more than anything else.
I want to make sure she's happy.
I also feel like this is more of a personal thing, and like you can disagree with this. I feel like that's a dangerous thing, is like your top achievement is to have a family. I understand it, and I think like obviously it's at the top, but not at the opportunity cost of you not becoming a person who has their goals and stuff. Because if you put everything into a marriage and having kids, you have nothing for yourself. And if someone takes away that marriage, if they're like, I'm gonna get divorced, then you suddenly feel like you have literally nothing. That's a very dangerous position to be in my opinion. So I feel like if I was getting married, I'd still have goals, wants, ambitions, dreams, so that in case they were like, I hate you, I'll be like, well, I still have my Grammy. You know what I mean? It'd be something. I just feel like that's a bit dangerous in theory. But I understand.
But if the girl does not get married, I think you're looked down upon. And I think she feels pressure from the community.
It's important to know that in brown culture, people getting married is like the apex. That's like S tier. Getting a good job is pretty cool. Having fun is like down here somewhere on the floor. It's on the like basement level. Like if you're having fun, it's actually almost like incorrect. Getting money is pretty high up if you're the guy, if you're the girl. And then yeah, getting married is like it. Look, I'm here to say that for brown people, that's really fucking stupid. I don't know what kind of old traditions people have, because we don't currently live in that olden day society where you can buy a house for 3 jokes. You can't do that. You have to actually work to get there. So in light of all this, we actually have to protect ourselves. It's okay to be older, to actually take time before you get married and be unhappy for the rest of your life. Maybe pick a partner you actually like. A lot of brown people just tend to like do things like love will come second. I believe in love coming first and me coming second. My point is that I just don't believe in what they say, but what is happening is she's feeling this extraneous pressure from her family and peers to get married, and that might have pushed her over the edge. So it's something I want to note and say that I feel like it's really stupid in brown culture sometimes to push people into something they don't want to do. We only have one life. You got to do what you want to.
Over the next few months, I didn't hear from Bobby, and then he messages me out of the blue. He's like, hey, I've got something to tell you.
1 year goes by. After the divorce, they don't really talk. She seems to be okay with the men leaving for at least a year and has 0 problems when they come back. He comes back and he's like, I got something to tell you. She's like, oh my God, are you in love with me? He's like, sort of. I'm in love with another girl and I'm getting engaged. Bobby is getting married for the 2nd time.
I cannot imagine being happier than I am with you. Will you be my wife?
I like that. By the way, this is like not related to anything, but I'm watching the Facebook video. This is a classic tactic for most guys. You put a lady on an air balloon, and if she says no, you just kick her off. You're like, oh, that's one of the sandbags gone. Just put her in a compromising position so she'll have to say yes. Good work, Bobby. I can see what you're doing there.
Bobby wanted me to meet Sanj and get to know her. I am invited to the wedding. Due to family circumstances at that time, I just couldn't go.
Okay, I feel like this is a red flag, right? 1 year of not talking, suddenly, hey, I'm getting married. I want you to be friends with my wife and turn up to the wedding. In my head, I'm like, I haven't talked to you for a year. We haven't even actually met in real life, and you want me to come to the wedding? I feel like we should know each other a bit more. Like it feels like you're just reaching to try and fill seats at this point. So anyway, Kirat can't even go because of some family thing, and they get married and she's happy and everyone's happy. But I just feel like this is like a little bit suspicious.
I'm doing my show.
I think at this point I need to tell you Kirat is a sort of like social media / media organizer. So like we won't say like social media because it's less Instagram back in 08, 09, but like she helps promote things. She also has a radio show in which she like takes in callers, talks about her experiences, and it's at this time that she learns some very horrible news about Bobby. Turns out this motherfucker got shot 6 times like Tupac. God damn.
On my Facebook feed, Sanj just posted a photo of Bobby.
Damn, Facebook is my favorite place to do bad information. I love when old people on Facebook be like, post a picture of someone smiling and be like, this is John, he died yesterday. He got run over by a lawnmower. Please pray for him. And people in the comment section like it, so that they like that he died and shit. Old people like, oh, prayers for John, like. Old people just got no fucking filter on Facebook, man. My Bobby has been shot 6 times. That's like, can you imagine Tupac got shot and like his girlfriend is like, pray for Tupac, and like holding the fucking camera in his face while he's dying. Is that good? Do you guys really, you think so? Because I don't know about that.
Bobby's been shot several times in Kenya. He's in a critical condition and he's in a coma. I'd been friends with Bobby for 3 years.
Right. At this point, it's been 3 years that Kirat's been friends with Bobby. She hasn't met him. He's got married and shot. Like, he's lived a full life, I would say. And he might even not even get past this stage of life. So who knows what's going to happen right now. Bobby got shot in Kenya. Sounds like an album, really.
Sad that I hadn't got to meet him again. I'm at work. I get a call from Simran. That changes everything.
So, At this point, you can suspend your disbelief. There's been 1.5 red flags if I can truly count. I would say there's one specific one. I don't think getting shot 6 times necessarily in Africa is like a stretch. I know if someone said that to me in South Africa, I'd be like, only 6? Wow, they didn't even empty the whole clip. So I don't know much about Kenya, but at this point, if you're watching the story, now is when you can sort of be like, bitch, what are you talking about? This is the point of like no return. Her cousin calls her and she says something on the phone that's I would question. Let's hear what she says.
Absolutely everything. She tells me Bobby's in witness protection in a hospital in New York.
All right, let's break that down. Bobby's in Kenya. He gets shot in Kenya. There is nothing that New York would ever have to do with Kenya. They don't even have oil, so New York's not raiding Kenya. Bobby's in witness protection after getting shot would imply that Bobby has seen some shit in Kenya that would really break open a case. I don't know if there's Breaking Bad in Kenya, but I don't know who's doing deals to put Bobby in witness protection program. But let's see why I feel like this is a red flag. By the way, can we have 2 red flags up? Bobby getting shot and being in witness protection, and her being at the club and Bobby not hearing her.
Recovering from his awful injuries. Witness protection? What is going on? I didn't understand.
Yeah, actually, if you read that Google thing, I think this is actually perfectly. Broadly moving away from the area you've been living in with your family, a new identity, a new backstory. That's kind of what witness protection is. If you watch Goodfellas, you can take like a plea deal, something when you're actually bringing down a huge racket of people. That is when witness protection is most used. Now, I will say that witness protection, I don't know if it happens in England and Europe, but I know for a fact America doesn't really have anything to do with Europe at this point, let alone Kenya, where he got shot. Pretty odd, if you ask me. Pretty odd.
Ever wonder what happens when you disappear in plain sight with the help of the federal government?
God, man, what kind of a fucking... Does America just wake up and say stupid stuff every now and again? This is why I can't watch the news. Imagine turning on the news. You're like, would you ever wonder what it's like to be shot 7 times and wake up a whole new person? Well, we talked to David, and he's gonna tell us all about it. Sorry, David, for compromising everything. I guess the mafia will kill you after this. Okay, thank you, lady. I guess I know what witness protection program is now, according to Lady from CBS News. Thanks.
I understood for someone to be in witness protection, there had to be some kind of threat to life.
Yeah, he got shot 6 times. It's pretty threatening to your life.
Bobby's from a well-known family, and some of the photos and things that I've seen online show wealth.
There's the pictures of Bobby sitting down. I don't think any of these pictures necessarily show Bobby is worth getting shot 6 times for money. I don't know if sitting down, because if it does, I'm going to start standing up more often. Not sure if how she put those two. She's just putting pieces of the puzzle that don't fit together. Her puzzle is just like 1,000 pieces and she smashed the first 2 together.
Which is why he might be targeted. Bobby messages me, but from a new Facebook profile.
Okay, red flag number 3. Bobby in witness protection program is Facebook messaging her from a different profile. The different profile is not a different name. It's just his initial and his actual last name. He even has a profile picture of his back. I'm telling you now, lady, you don't even need to do a Google search to understand that if you're in a witness protection program, they're not going to let you message under your same name and the same friends. You can't... Why are you falling for this? Why? Why is she falling for this, guys? Why?
He tells me he's in witness protection because of a failed business deal that he'd done, and ultimately he was the one that paid the price.
Okay, some shit has gone on with his business, right? His chiropractor business. He broke the wrong person's back. Maybe he broke some balls. I don't know. But people shot him up 6 times. And because of the deal gone wrong, they were like, let's fly you to America where you belong. It's making 0 sense to me. It's giving, fuck, are you stupid? It's giving that right now. Kirat actually asked a decent question. How come you're able to message me? Every now and again when I watch Catfish, people get this close to actually breaking the curse, and then they say anything, and those people are like back to like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's good. Yep, it's good. It works for me. What do you think Bobby will say? Going against what they said. There it is. Witness protection program. It's like more of a recommendation than an actual thing. They're like, we recommend that you change your identity because you will get shot. And Bobby could be like, no thanks, I'll take my chances. Witness protection. You don't have to do it. You just want to.
I'm terrified. I might put myself in danger, but Bobby wasn't coping.
Being in witness protection program and saying the words don't want to live is like really bad for the people in witness protection, considering your whole job is to stay alive so you can testify. So that's very bad. I just want to say. But Bobby's succumbing to his like sad thoughts right now. He's in the hospital just like, oh, I hate being called B. John Doe. I like being called Bobby John Doe. What the B stand for? Brendan? Oh.
Bobby and Sanjay's marriage starts to fall apart and eventually end up getting divorced.
Of course, right. Bobby got divorced because he got shot and like he moved, well, they moved him to America and he's not Bobby anymore. He's just B. John Doe now. Got it. So his wife leaves him because she's like, stop getting shot, Bobby. Stop bleeding all over the place. Jeez. That's what a good wife would do. As soon as she hears Bobby's shot, she's like, I'm done with you. You don't even wear bulletproof vests to Kenya, you idiot. So it was very sad, but his second divorce. And this time it hurts in the heart, not just because of the divorce, but the bullet holes in it.
He's clearly dealing with a lot of negative things in his life.
Like the girl she is, Kirat sees a man who is wounded as an opportunity to fix him, as so many girls do. And she's like, I'll make him better and I'll make him better than ever and he'll be mine. Without even realizing, I feel, she is inserting herself into this position to be like, I will fix Bobby so he will be mine. I don't know if she understands the romantic intent that is happening here, but she's in her head, she's like, I just want to be there for him. But we know what's happening. Conversation between 30-something-year-olds, by the way. Everything has been taken away from me, but you have me. In her head, there was some like amazing music playing, like it was that movie with Ryan Gosling.
It wasn't over.
Titanic 2? I don't know.
I try to be there for him, but then I have a very horrible breakup with my partner. After 18 years, we broke up.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Kirat is now broken up with her boyfriend who she never talks about and who disappears for years at a time. I would feel sad about this, but she said 18 years and like I was just heartbroken. Initially, I was like, oh, 18 whole years they've been together. But like she kept saying like he would disappear a year at a time. So I don't even know like how much time they were together accumulated. It doesn't even make sense. So I feel more relief than anything that that's ended. But now she's single. And Bobby's a Pringle and she's ready to mingle. So
And I was scared of letting my parents down and doing the wrong thing by them.
can we have a moment for people putting in their relationship status on Facebook? That is how you do it. I used to do it single. When in high school, I was like, single. Is anybody looking? I should have just put a sign on my head like stupid. I love it. Can you imagine people on Facebook being like, oh, she's so sexy, but it says it's complicated. Oh, what does that mean? I like that. Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg really thought of everything, didn't he? That's why he's the best. Not only steals your information, but your heart too.
But Bobby would always check in on me, even though he was struggling with his health. Bobby introduced me to a couple of his friends and family online as well.
So he didn't actually introduce the friends and family, but I just want to say you're in witness protection program in America. Your family should not know about this, right? Because you're in witness protection program. Because basically what happens, the reason you can't have like family and everyone in on it is because if your family knows your whereabouts, then they're seen as targets and someone else can target them to get the information to get to you. That's why nobody knows about it. But okay, that's fine. So that's all right.
Somebody from witness protection had okayed for him to talk to us.
Right, because someone from witness protection program would be like, oh, who, Kara? Yeah, that seems about right. I mean, you've never met her. She's far away. I think that's fine with me. Witness protection is pretty lenient these days. They used to be pretty hectic back then. But nowadays, they're just like, yeah, I mean, do you want to talk to her? Oh, okay. It seems, yeah, B. John Doe. Just remember, you're not Bobby, you're B. Got it. Good work. Good work, Kirat, for not... That's a red flag, actually. Fuck it. 3 red flags. Witness protection people being okay with you talking over the internet with strangers. Stupidly wrong.
There was a particular cousin of Bobby's called Yashvir. There's another person who I'm beginning to speak to a lot more. His name's Rajvir.
Okay, so she meets Bobby's cousins, Yashvir and Rajvir. Both of them know he's in witness protection, but it's actually particularly funny because Rajvir, she says, is on the medical team. They let their cousin into the operation. His cousin is helping him recover in witness protection program, guys. Sometimes your cousin can't even come to the same movie theater as you without getting kicked out because you two make so much trouble. He's fixing you now. You gotta pretend not to know you, but he's like, come on, cousin. This is like Roman and Nico from GTA. Cousin, I'll fix you.
He's also a medic, and he's managed to get himself on the medical team to help Bobby in witness protection.
That's a red flag. That's stupidly a red flag. Your cousin is not going to be operating on you in witness protection. That sounds so stupidly insane that that would be okay with anyone. No.
Bobby and I have been speaking for 4 years now. One day, he tells me...
4 years into their relationship, by the way. It's been 4 years. She started off at 32. She's 36 now. And he finally says the magic words. I love you too much. And I think she just says anything you need or something. She's just like, what do you want, Bobby? I want you. So at this point, Bobby, like the meds are kicking in. Bobby's in witness protection program. He's like, I need sex. Okay.
He loves me. I totally ignored that comment. I was taking time to process everything when something happens.
I mean, okay, let's take a little check-in moment here. Let's check in with ourselves. Are you okay with a relationship that lasts for years when your partner might be in a hospital after being shot up and in witness protection program and you've never seen him or her for years? Me neither, right? Okay, cool. We're all on the same page.
He starts to experience symptoms of a stroke.
So Kara doesn't actually respond to the I love you. She ignores it. And coincidentally, Bobby now starts feeling numb on his right side. He's suddenly not doing too well. And he actually falls into a coma. Very tough stuff right there. Witness protection program, been shot, finally recovering. She doesn't say I love you back. And now he's in a coma.
And there's no reply. Eventually, Rajvir shares a picture of Bobby in his hospital bed.
This is what cousins are for, right? This is why he's on the medical team, because he can send pictures of, like, you know, I love that. He's in witness protection and they're showing his location and shit. That's really funny, right? It's his cousin who's showing him the location to random people on the internet. That's exactly what happens. He's like showing all the mafia people. He's like, don't worry about killing Bobby. Bobby's killing himself. He's dead. Bobby had a stroke. Bobby used to be stroking it. Now he's stroked out. He's done. Your witness protection program can't even protect Bobby from himself. That's the real victim here. Sending pictures of your cousin who's on his deathbed is fucking hilarious to me. I don't know. I just find that very funny.
There was just wires everywhere. He asks me to record a farewell message.
All right, so now he's dying, right? Bobby didn't get the love he wants. He's dying. Kirat is now required to send a message, and it is at this point where she realizes that she actually is in love with Bobby. It's only when Bobby dies. This is just like girls, isn't it? It's only when it's too late that you finally realize you could have some of that Bobby, that BD, Bobby dick. I'm sorry.
He says, there's a chance that he can hear you.
I love you so much, Bobby.
So then they play the actual recording. This is the actual recording. They still have it. It's cringy. Sorry. I'm so sorry, but it's like this movie where she's like, and I know in her head she actually thinks this is happening, but it's crazy. Come on.
I wish things could have been different. If I could just hold you once, I'll never forget you.
She's 36. She's never met him. He's in a coma after being shot in New York. Go.
I love you, Bobby.
There it is. The power of love actually gets you back, okay? You just have to love someone who you didn't love before, and now he's made it. He was in a coma, then he heard that, and then he finally is like, finally, this bitch loves me. I'm awake. I feel rejuvenated.
Incredibly, he manages to pull through. I just try to imagine how he must be feeling. He didn't have people he knew and loved around him.
He has his cousin literally on the medical team. That you couldn't get better than that. Like sometimes you feel horrible when you're at a hospital and you don't even have anyone to like come to. You have your friggin' cousin who's like just nepotism and a half. He's like not even checking in on the other patients. He's like, Bobby, my main man, I'll get you any popsicle you want except mine. That's incest. Stop. I'm joking, Bobby. Hello.
He was paralyzed on one side and he lost his voice. Luckily, he had some movement.
All right. Okay. So, like, in general, being in a coma does not mean you cannot talk, because people come out of comas. In fact, not only do they talk, there have been cases of people talking in different languages or accents because their brain gets affected. When your brain is shut off, that is the part that actually receives lots of damage with the oxygen or lack thereof. But, you know, in her head, it's like his vocal cords are destroyed, but his brain completely intact. I don't know how long he was in the coma for, but I feel like this is a red flag. Can we put that up? I don't know what we're up to, 4 or 5. Bobby gets in a coma, and then as soon as she says she loves him, he's back up and running. That's a red flag to me. I'm sorry, but it is.
So he's able to actually message me.
So he's messaging. He's got one hand of his is destroyed and stuff. On the other hand, he's messaging her with his left hand, and she is over the moon because she did not think he was going to pull through. She's like, okay, God has made me feel great and I love you. And she's now like confessing and professing love and thinks they're now really in a relationship.
And on Valentine's Day, Bobby sends me the first romantic message. He says, with a woman like you in my life, I really am the luckiest man in the world.
Okay, that's the red flag. I'm sorry. Being shot and being in a coma and then getting up and then being paralyzed and then saying you're the luckiest man in the world. I don't know. You'd have to be a hell of an optimist. And yes, I'm sitting in yoga position right now because I feel like it's appropriate. I need some meditation to actually get past the level of stupidity that sometimes this lady displays. I do feel sorry for her, but listening to this back is just very hard. Like you have years. Each year is 365 days. You've had 4 of those. And at no point during the day did you ever think, what the fuck am I believing? Bobby's been in hospital for years. Do you know how much that medical bill would be in the United States of America, where they don't have free healthcare? Bobby would want to die at this point.
You should be told how amazing you are every day. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. From this moment on, we're now in a relationship. We're committed to each other.
Bro, he's in the hospital. He had a stroke. He was almost dead last week. What are you talking about? Now we're in a relationship till the very end. The very end could be a few days from now, okay? This is a very weak, structured relationship, I gotta say. The fact that you haven't seen him for years or ever. She saw him in a club one time, and this is her experience. Damn, girl.
What are you doing?
Like you do in a normal relationship, you get to know each other better, and we try to make it as normal as you can online.
Yeah, so they're exchanging voice notes. They're doing, the normal, like, how was your day? How are you? The thing that you do when you start a relationship,
Vocal cords were damaged. I'd record a voice note, and he would reply, typing, I am falling in love with him, maybe.
Yeah, so again, she failed to recognize that his vocal cords were fried and somehow never got better, to the point that she's sending voice notes and he's just responding on text, meaning he could just be lazy. But I tell you what, Bobby does not want to talk. And it's not for a while that Bobby talks, but he doesn't ever talk like Bobby again, which is a bit weird, isn't it?
But the only thing I had were old pictures of him online.
Bobby can't take pictures at the hospital. And the pictures are from 4 or 5 years ago, right? Like, Bobby needs some new pictures. He needs updates. I feel like his phone, the one that he's texting on, could very much take pictures. And I know you might not feel the best when you're in hospital, but I'll tell you what, it's probably worth taking one picture of yourself if you need to update your profile from 5 years ago. Bobby could look like a whole different person, especially if he's a catfish. All right, so then she's now like, okay, we've been in a relationship for over a few days. I want some kids. I'm 36 plus, and I'm in a relationship with possibly a fake man. I need some kids. And so she does it through Facebook Messenger, which is the best way to propose having kids, I feel.
Is there a sexual side to your relationship with Bobby?
Finally, the interviewer asked the question I've been really wanting to know: is there a sexual side with Bobby? And she replies saying that's inappropriate, which means hell yes, there's a sexual side. I would love to know more about that. I thought this was a documentary that was comprehensive and supposed to explore all aspects. And I'm not even joking. If you're going to make a whole 1 hour, 30-minute documentary, you should probably explain that part, because I feel like here would be tons of red flags that all of us would be like, damn. Because I feel like you and me and other people would be like, why is Bobby not sending dick pics? Even in the hospital, I'd be able to get it up. I'm just saying. Easily, right? If that's the only thing I'm lifting that day, it would be fine. I just feel like I need to know about their relationship in that aspect, because I would actually know more about it and be like, there is some huge red flags as to why he is not doing certain things, personally.
Well, that's rather private. Is that an appropriate question to ask?
When you're in a relationship with a fake person in hospital in New York who has a coma and stroke, it's a very appropriate question to ask, actually. Being defensive about this is really bad, actually, personally.
We've been together for 3 months. One day while we're messing around, Bobby proposes to me.
This is the most gangster thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Okay, they're messing around, and then Bobby decides to do the most gangster thing ever. He proposes to her through MS Paint. The most sexy thing I've ever heard in my life. The only thing you can do that would beat that is proposing to someone on Excel or a PowerPoint, like reasons you should be with me, and then you fucking flip over the slides. Will you be Mrs. John Doe? And then he didn't even give her a ring, he drew it. That's wow. What kind of standards do you have? If you have such low standards, anyone can date you, right? You can let anyone get in. And that's why anyone could get away with stuff with her, because she's getting proposed to on MS Paint and is like, oh my God, I need an MS Paint ring.
I don't need a big extravagant proposal. Of course, all girls dream of them, but lots of things seem like they're superficial and for show.
I bet you no girl dreamed that she got proposed to on MS Paint. I don't think anybody has ever used MS Paint for that before. Even the guy who created it probably was like, shit, I would do anything but propose on this app, okay? It's like the guy who invented the toilet. Great invention, but I don't think you're supposed to propose on it. Certain things not meant to propose on.
An understated proposal is good enough. So I said yes. He's really, really keen.
Oh, okay, so they got engaged through MS Paint. That's the first of its kind, clearly. She wanted a real proposal, but she got it in text. That's a red flag, and I think that's a self-esteem flag. Proposing through MS Paint, can we write that down? Also, come on, right? If the bar is so low you have to limbo under it, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? If you want someone to propose to you, be like, well, this is what I want, right? I want you to do it in person. That's the bare minimum for me. You can't propose on an app. Stop. I feel like that's, I don't know, that's just the barrel, right? You got to do the bare minimum.
He's already looking at wedding venues, and he showed me a bling ring as your engagement ring. It was very nice.
So here's a tell, right? And I was thinking about this. This is something. Like, we know that she's getting catfished because this is the series. I don't want to spoil who it is. But let me just ask you, put this inside your head. Who do you think is using Pinterest? Have you ever known a guy, a straight man, to use Pinterest? Because I haven't. I've never been with my bros and been like, hey bro, what do you want to do today? And he's like, maybe Pinterest, we'll share some images. That has never happened in life. So I'm just saying, that's a tell. It's not a red flag, it's a tell. It's a tell. I don't know any guy who's got a Pinterest board. Even if you're bored, you're not getting one. Guys will start shooting hoops and stuff before they do Pinterest. I'm just saying.
Nice. But for me, it wasn't practical.
Anyway, he shows her a picture of a ring on Pinterest and she's like, oh, that's not for me. That's so stupid, man. That's so stupid. I don't know. That's like looking at a picture of a Lamborghini and the girl's like, no thanks, I'll just take a Toyota. What the hell? He went on Google Images and she's like, no, I'll take something smaller. As if he was really gonna like pull it out of Pinterest and like actually get it. He's been in a hospital. He's not even working anymore, dude.
Bobby did not want me to tell anything to my husband because he wanted to come all the way from New York and see him face to face and break the news to him.
So Bobby actually then talks to Kirat's parents. He talks to Kirat's mother, but not the father, and says that he wants to actually ask for her hand in marriage in person to the father. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, Bobby, sounds good.
Being introduced to his cousins first, he set up a group. I think there were about 30 of us.
I was really looking forward to meeting him.
Bobby and I start using Skype.
Bobby's like Ross from Friends. I just realized this was his third marriage, right? He's just going through the group now.
Many times have I caught you out.
But because he was in witness protection, we weren't allowed to have a video call. It was just too risky.
Red flag. Red flag number 7. Oh my God, she's so dumb. All right. So she says witness protection can't, it's too risky to do a video call. I'm looking at the screenshot. It says his full name, Bobby Jandu. It has a fucking picture of his face. It's got good lighting. People now know what he looks like. It's actually worse that he's doing a damn non-video call because it looks so evident that they're like, oh, okay, this is identification. Also, people can pick up on your IP address, lady. What do you think? If someone calls you on the phone, they don't know anything about you till you do video calls? They can trace that shit. God, that works in media. How do you not know this, dude? So then Bobby turns into like a Neanderthal sort of thing. He's making sounds. Apparently like his vocal cords are so fried that he can only make sounds like a fucking Ooga Booga man. So every time she's like, hey Bobby, he's like, she's basically okay with this sort of relationship with like a prehistoric human being. This is how low the bar is for her at this point.
Even though Bobby couldn't speak, he would communicate just by making some kind of noise, whether it was a tap, a grunt, or whatever it was. Eventually,
I love you, Bobby. You might as well go to the zoo and just start, tapping. Look at this gorilla. He does the same thing my husband Bobby does. I love it.
With speech therapy, he was able to whisper like a horse whisper, like this kind of thing. But it's never his normal full voice ever again.
Red flag number 8. Bobby is never using his real voice. He's whispering over the phone. If you call up your partner and they're like, hey, yeah, no, I'm good. I just, I'm in a library. My library's name is Tina. Okay, all right. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Bobby's whispering because he can't talk. He used to make grunting sounds. Do you not think someone's trying to hide the fact that they're not who they are? They're not video calling ever? Are you believing this? Are you really believing this? I guess the only thing that I have to say like on her side is there's no money being gotten. I don't know, like you wouldn't expect someone to be catfishing you. It's pretty rare, and back in those days it was maybe less common. So maybe that's the only thing I have for Karat that's like, I'm sorry that happened.
Long after we get engaged, he's received an official looking envelope and he says he's got something to tell me.
Okay, so there's not, in case you didn't have enough twists, Bobby now gets a confidential letter that says that his ex-wife is having his child. Red flag number 8. And you know why it's a red flag, number 8? Because we glossed over the fact that his ex-wife fucking posts letters to the hospital that Bobby is at. He's in witness protection program. His ex-wife should not know where he is. Not only does she know, she sent him a damn letter. She's like, having your child. She didn't even email it. She wrote it. Oh, Bobby, by the way, that time you were so good to me, that time you said your pullout game was so strong. Not anymore, Bobby. You're having my baby. Nobody's supposed to know where this guy is. His ex-wife can write letters to him. God damn it, that's stupid. Anyway, of course, Karat's like over. She's just like, what? How could you, Bobby? She's in tears.
He's basically forced to admit to me that he's slept with her on one occasion. I send quite a straightforward, simple message to Bobby. Your baby, I can manage, but I don't want Sanj in my life. I
feel sorry for this. Is like now I'm starting to feel sorry for Karat because I don't know what happened in her life that made her feel like she is not deserving of someone who can treat her right? She might be a bit of a plunk head, all right? She's a little bit of an airhead. I can admit that. But like I'm looking at her and I'm like, you didn't necessarily do something wrong to deserve you looking so low upon yourself that if someone cheats and has a baby and is in witness protection and you never see them ever in your life, you're still okay with it. Because she seems like a nice lady. She seems like a nice woman who deserves a nice man who treats her correctly. And I feel sad knowing that she's okay with this because something has happened in her life to make her feel like this is okay behavior, which it is not. No guy should ever put you through that. No girl should ever put a man through that. Nobody should put somebody through this shit. Life is way too hard. You need forgiveness and you need understanding. And if you don't have that coming from someone else, you need to do it for yourself. Okay? This is too much. Kirat.
I end up speaking to Bobby's cousin Kiran. She's Yashvir's big sister. I have a lot of respect for her.
Okay, Kiran is Yashvir, who is Bobby's cousin's bigger sister. And there's a lot of things. She's not really in the story much, but Kirat is like, I trust you. Can you get this message through to Bobby? Please stop having sex with your ex-wife. I would love it if you could just have sex with me instead. That would be great. And she's like, yeah, I will tell my cousin to have more sex with you. Thank you.
Sanj gives birth to a baby boy. Bobby needed to make a choice. I've put it to him that he should go back to Sanj, but he wants to be with me.
So Sanj, his ex-wife, has a baby. She looks extremely happy. She doesn't look disturbed or looks like she's had a baby with someone who she doesn't want to. I guess he's not in the pictures, or if he is, Kirat's not saying. And she's like, you should go and be with her. And he's like, no, I want you. I want the lady who puts up with anything. And she reluctantly agrees. She's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Bobby makes an effort to include me in everything. We've spent a couple of nights choosing names.
Damn, so I guess they're now picking names for a baby, even though another lady has had it and probably is going to be the deciding factor of who's naming the baby. I don't know if this is just a egotistical tendency that she does not understand that maybe she should not have any autonomy over the process of naming someone else's child. Not sure why she thinks this is about her, but I guess here we are. I think we're 5 years into the relationship. She's naming another person's kid thinking that this is going to work out.
We chose baby clothes. It was nice to see that Sanj actually put the clothes on him. 18 months into our relationship.
Oh, right, of course. So she's the only one who, like in the story, Sanj is the only one. She has the kid. Bobby's in witness protection program. He's not really with the kid. And then like they got her. So they got someone wherever she is in England. Then they go back to America, then back to England with a completely different lady who thinks she's part of this story. The Delulu is not the Salulu for this one.
Lots and lots of attempts have been made to be together, but Bobby's in witness protection, so there's a procedure and a process.
Did you ever ask what the process is, lady? Because I feel like it's been years. It's been enough time. And Rajveer, the person who's supposed to be the medical assistant, is now also a lawyer and is trying to get him out of witness protection so he can visit his beloved Kirat. It's been 18 months. I want to cry listening to the story.
So for the time being, I asked Bobby for something that was his, something that he'd touched.
Okay, so she's like, look, if I can't have Bobby, I'll just have something you've touched or anything. And Bobby's like, yeah, all right, here's something I touched, my underwear. And then he takes a dump in it and sends it. That didn't happen, but if it did, I would have been like, oh, okay, that's good. He sends a shirt, but I think he should have sent a shit.
So he was like, he's going to give me one of his t-shirts. And because Simran got this new jet-setting job, she's required to go to head office in New York.
What the fuck is a head office in New York? She's got a jet-setting job and she's now required to go to the head office in New York. What do you know about your cousin that is so little in the grand scheme of things that you're like, don't even know what you studied, but now you have to go to the head of New York? So she's just, at any point, she's just letting everyone just do whatever they're doing. But Simran, the cousin who used to date JJ, who's Bobby's brother, is now going to New York and then can also go into the hospital. So they're just letting anyone go in. Keep in mind, Simran is not related to Bobby Jandu at all. He's in witness protection program in a hospital where nobody should know about. But she's just able to go in and retrieve a piece of clothing and take it out.
Why are we still here?
In a normal hospital, they don't even let other people, they let your family visit. You don't even have to be in witness protection. You just have to be a witness of this person's life. Jesus. Okay, all right, okay.
He managed to give his t-shirt to Simran. I meet her to pick up the t-shirt. Bobby had told me he sprayed it with his aftershave, so it's gonna stink a whole suit.
Yeah, Bobby should have sprayed it with his asshole, because that would have been probably more of a realistic smell for you to be like, Bobby, I want to smell your doo-doo, because that would actually be more, that would be a wake-up call that I really need. But Simran actually brings back the thing from New York, so she comes all the way from New York back to London just to give the damn shirt to her cousin, because she knows her cousin is smitten and shitten, okay?
There's only so much you can live a relationship online. You have to be with each other. The stress of the situation is too much for him. Things start to feel different between us.
So after she gets the shirt, she's like happy, but not too long after that, Bobby is then unhappy because he is starting to feel relationship woes, and he's even feeling the pressure. So he's now a whole different person towards her, much more manipulative and controlling. He's becoming a shrewd person, but also a bit of a, I said shrewd, I meant a different word. I meant like, you know that, like a hermit kind of person, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? Tell me everything you're doing. Like that kind of person.
Because of the stroke, his mental health was fragile. But I found myself walking on eggshells because he was sensitive to absolutely everything.
Red flag number 9, walking on eggshells. If you have to walk on eggshells, you're a farmer. You know what I mean? I guess don't walk on eggshells. Stop doing that. Okay, if you can't communicate, then don't. Let's say you have a problem with someone, right? Communicate it. Talk it out. If someone means something to you, talk it out. Because if you're going to do shit that's like walk on eggshells or stop communicating or not actually explain your side or have your side explained, you can't really have a relationship, right? I don't know why I'm saying this. She's talking on Skype to this man. She's falling asleep to Bobby's pictures.
If I needed to go to the bathroom, it's like, where were you? Every day I'd get up in the morning, take a selfie, send it to Bobby on Messenger.
Now I can feel the anxiety, right? I want to just go on record, be a little vulnerable here and say that I've sort of felt in a position like this. I've had like more long distance some things than I like to. Sometimes I felt the pressure of needing to be there constantly, and I can understand how she's feeling. I can understand, and you get caught up in it. You don't understand you're doing it. When you come out of it, you're like, oh wow, I was doing that the whole time. I get it. But she's sending pictures, she's going to work, she's opening the laptop, staying in contact with him 24/7. It's unhealthy when you're like 25. When you're 35 or 36, that's like, at this point you should recognize that pattern as something that's unhealthy and try and break it or not be in it.
Days will stop gelling into one. It was like he was attached to me.
So she's taking selfies where she's really surprised in these selfies. It's almost like she's like, whoa, I look like that? Oh man.
It was like Bobby owned my time now.
So now Bobby is like turning into a tyrant. She says she's having a panic attack and Bobby's like, shut the hell up, bro. You are pissing me off, brother. Whatever. I don't know. But he's saying something and she's now crying over text because she's like, Bobby, I'm just trying to love you. Why do you hate me, Bobby? They've never met, remember? It's been 5-6 years at this point. Never met. 6 years. 6 times 365. I don't even begin to know, but it's at least 1,800 days. That's way too many.
On several occasions, I've been tempted to disappear. But if I try to disappear, then something had happened.
I'm going to die from a heart attack. Okay, so this is manipulation station, okay? Population 1, don't get off at that train stop. If you're gonna say things like, firstly, telling someone you're going to block them, saying that I can't put up with this communication, that's at least a forewarning. I don't believe in blocking people, but I feel like if you're going to do it, at least tell someone you're going to do it. Let them have the conversation. If you feel like it's not going to be productive, go ahead. Secondly, it's obviously not productive because Bobby's then said, like, call me, I'm going to die from a heart attack, which is manipulating someone into staying into a conversation they don't want to have, which is also not good. So I can see both sides here. Even though he's in a position, he's sick and stuff, you still need to protect yourself in this particular instance. And I wish she would just, like, let him go, you know?
I feel like I need to make sure that I don't upset him, because it might.
So then the cousin messages and says they're saying he's turning blue. They should play that song, the I'm blue, babu dee babu die. They should play that because that's funny. Secondly, stop. Stop. The cousins on the doctor's team saying things like, they're saying he's turning blue. I think he's becoming a Smurf. Come on. Shut the fuck up. Are you serious? Are you serious? That alone is like, what? What? No.
She doesn't have the capacity for anything else. She was not taking care of herself. She was losing weight.
I like how they show pictures of her without makeup and they're like, she was not looking good. She was losing herself. That's like kind of crazy. But I guess at this point, like her mental health is declining because Bobby is becoming so imposing on her person that she's just not being able to have time to have days to herself and things. And I think it's very important to have your own time and space. So it's very sad to see this happen. And I feel very sorry that she went through this period because it's damaging on your mental health.
She looked like death.
Eventually, I'm made redundant from my full-time marketing job. I'm doing one of my final radio shows of the year and he's on the Skype call with me.
She's even gotten fired now. She's made redundant. She's putting too much time into Bobby and the effort, and it's just it's not doing well, right? I feel very sorry just hearing that, but like it looks like her mental health is declining. Her friendships are going apart. She's losing weight. She's doing her last radio show, and this is when everything snaps. She's taking a call from a normal caller, a regular, and Bobby is on the phone with her, and he listens to it and he's like, you are flirting. You are being sexy with a guy on radio. I hate that. And this causes Kira to spiral.
And I'm answering calls, doing my thing as usual. And he says, I'm flirting. So to prove committed, I'm loyal, so I give up my show.
Red flag. You have to give up your career because of a guy or a girl or something. I mean, what else do you want to say? What is the literal embodiment of something? If someone actually cares about you, they help you with their dreams. They support your achievements. If someone is bringing you down, they're not really a person in love with you. They're in love with the idea of being with you, right? So if you have to do that, then you'll always hold this against someone. Like you're like, I could have had you on my dreams. I chose you. Right person shouldn't make you choose. Red flag. Number 10, I believe we're up to.
That was a very controlling move and manipulative.
Bobby always finds a way to make me feel better.
All sorts of gifts to Kirat regularly.
Oh shit, that's called love bombing. I heard about it. It has happened to me. It is a very, very bad process. I feel like it is one of the worst things, actually, to be honest, because someone makes you feel so bad, and when they make you feel really bad and you actually think, I'm gonna leave you, then they start acting all lovey-dovey. And then you're like, I remember why I love you. And it is very painful. I wouldn't recommend having that done to you, but I guess nobody truly knows, huh? But if you have had it done to you, you can recognize it, and that is that. So that sucks.
Thank you. I put them on for you and take a picture.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's, like, crazy that she's crying. She's like, thank you. It's, like, sort of like, you know what I'm talking about, like, controlling you so much to the point that you're feeling paranoid and all of these emotions coming out super wrong ways. That is very unhealthy in a relationship. This is super toxic. I'm so unrealistically annoyed at the fact that she's this old and not recognizing these patterns. But at the same time, I feel sympathetic. And I even know how some of this feels. So, damn. It sucks, man.
When I mentioned my doubts about Bobby, Kirat used to get really upset and emotional.
This whole thing has become too important to fail. I'm not 20-something. If there's a chance this could still work, I wanted it to work.
And I think this is the part that, like, you know, is very telling about Kirat. She basically said, like, she's not 20-something. She's put a lot of time and effort into this, so she's really going to make it work. And sometimes in life, this is hard to hear, but you could go like 10 years in a relationship and realize this is not the right person. And there's a very tough decision to make. And it's like, do I want to keep going and just tough it out or start again? And I think the correct decision is almost always cutting it off whenever you see fit. I mean, sometimes it's years, it's like 10 years. It's a lot of time. But you can realize, you can sober up and be like, this is not right for me. And I think it's objectively better to do that than to be unhappy for the rest of your life and try and make something work that you know isn't going to work. It's a very tough line because you want to make things work. You have to put in a lot of effort. But if you ever feel like I'm too old or the only reason I'm trying is because I've done it for so long, that's not really love. That's just, you don't want to start this again. which is a hard process to start again, I will admit. But like, oh man, you know, I can see where she's coming from, but nah.
Finally, Bobby's witness protection contract ends. Trying to stay positive, but we get bad news. My grandmother was sick.
So Bobby's witness protection program contract finally ends. He's finally out of the witness protection. They can, instead of calling him B. John Doe, they can finally call him Bobby, and he's ready to come back to the United Kingdom. But then Kirat's grandmother gets sick, which is really bad. And so now she's like worried about that. But then something worse happens.
But because I was sleeping on the phone with Bobby every night, I couldn't stay the night with her. My grandmother passes away. Bobby promised me, no matter what, he will make it for my grandmother's funeral.
Red flag number 11. Bobby literally prevented you from having your final minutes with your grandma because she stays on the phone with him every night. She couldn't actually visit her grandma and chose not to. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't care who you are. My grandma is feeling like that. I do not care. And if you're not the right person for me, then you will like try and stop me from spending time with my grandma. There is nothing in the world that will stop me from that. So I feel like this was like the huge red flag where it's like an eye-opener. Someone I love passed away and you stopped me from being able to spend time with them. For whatever reason, she's more concerned with the fact that he's not there to support her while the grandma has passed away, not the fact that he prevented her from spending that time with her. And it's just mind-boggling to me. That's all.
And he didn't come. I absolutely lose it at Bobby, screaming at him on the phone. I don't care. I don't care whatever happens. You come now. I don't need your presence.
Yeah, okay. Two things. I got really hungry. I'm making pasta because I'm hungry. Also, Bobby did not come in many ways. But one of the ways that he didn't come is physically in many ways. And what I mean by that is he's not in London. Her grandma's dead and he did not come. Bobby, how could you do it?
I don't need anything. I just need you to come. And literally, I'm giving him an ultimatum. Finally, Bobby tells me I'm coming tomorrow. All
right, if you have to give Bobby ultimatum, right? This is red flag number 12, I believe. I'm gonna Bobby ultimatum, put that up. Because if you haven't realized, Kirat, you're setting a pattern right now. Every time you give Bobby an ultimatum, he does something, right? When you say that he should leave and give the baby to someone else, he's like, I want it to be you. When he's dead in witness protection, he comes back alive. Whenever you want to leave, he says please, or he starts turning blue. Now, when you say that you need him, you don't care, ultimatum, he's coming the next day. Do you understand that only when you're making him do things does he do things, and how dangerous of a pattern that is? I feel like even in a healthy relationship that wouldn't work. So I would cut my ties right now. But Kirat does not seem to realize the patterns that she's been creating or somehow in. So yeah, he said he's going to get a ticket. He's coming back to a thing. He's still messaging her on B. John Doe, by the way. He's out of witness protection, but he's still choosing to use this profile. Why? I don't know.
I'm now 39. I'm scared of being disappointed.
Okay, you're 39. You shouldn't be scared of anything except the dark and some people with gluten-free cookies. You know what I mean? There's nothing to be scared of. I feel like time has passed, okay? You went from 32 to 39. That means you've known him for 7 years now and haven't seen him. That is too long. The sad part is she's still got 3 more years left on us. Contracts in the NBA don't last that long. They switch you around teams more than that, okay? That's really sad, Kirat.
I'm getting updates. This is it. Agree that Bobby might need some time to settle back in before he sees me.
Red flag number 13. They both agree that Bobby needs time after getting to the airport to settle in before he sees the girl he wants to marry after 7 years. If I bought a plane ticket to see a girl and I said, hey, I'm gonna just be at the hotel posted up for a few weeks, then I'll see you, and she said, I hate your guts, I would say, fair enough. I don't know how you could go to another country after 7 years and be like, the first thing I want to see is a hotel room and not your face. I don't even understand how that's even applicable in a conversation, or how you could get away with someone saying that and being like, yeah, that sounds good to me. But for whatever reason, Kirat agrees to this. So instead of going to the airport to pick him up, he would rather have some random person go there and stay in a random hotel. And she's okay with this, but that's what happens. So he goes to a hotel.
He books himself into a hotel in Kensington. But after a couple of days, I've still not seen Bobby. He's now, again, not seen me.
39 years old, he's in South Kensington, and she's like, come on, Bobby. Bobby, why won't you see me? Bobby, look at my face, Bobby. He's right there. He's right there. And she's like, I don't know why you don't want to see me. But she's not questioning it. She needs to call Scooby-Doo and the gang because she's not getting it, guys.
The excuses were so pathetic. I'm angry, but I'm upset. It's happening again. I just needed him to see me face to face.
So at this point, she's like, come on, you're right here. She goes to South Kensington. She goes to the hotel. She is like, look, I need to see Bobby Jandu right now. And she asks the reception and they're like, we don't know Bobby Jandu. And she's like, please stop doing the accent. They're like, okay, but we still don't know Bobby Jandu. So then she's like, what? Turns out Bobby has been using a secret name because even though he's not under witness protection program anymore, he just likes cosplaying as one.
So I go to the hotel. I give Bobby's full name and they can't find him. And I say he's been staying here for a couple of weeks at least now.
This girl lets time go by in the blink of an eye. I've never seen someone be so nonchalant about how long time is. I'm super impatient. If a few days go by, I'm like, look, I need to talk. If 2 weeks go by, I'm not going to be like, seems like enough time. Let me check if he's still interested in me. 2 weeks went by. He's been in the hotel. People don't stay in hotels for 2 weeks. Nobody has that kind of money. People like to be in hotels for a few days. Even hotels are like, why are you staying so long? Stop. So she goes there and after 2 weeks realizes, okay, this is too much. And she's been bamboozled.
I say to him, I'm here at the hotel, just come down. He's like, I've told reception to not let anyone know that I'm here. Just give me a couple of days. He's lying to me.
Yeah. Yes, he is lying to you, lady. So Bobby calls and says, I'm at the reception. I just don't want to see you today, even though I want you to be my wife and I drew you a ring on MS Paint. So she's like, wow, you're lying. And only now does it actually click in her head. Maybe I need to really do something about this because clearly she's a person who needs closure.
But then Bobby moves into the house that I've known he's had in South Kensington. I go to find this house. I'm downstairs, I'm outside. Bobby was like, I can actually see you.
This lady actually believes that this man went from the hotel to his own house and doesn't at all question the fact that he didn't just go to his house when he came back. His house is in South Kensington and so is the hotel. Have you ever known anyone to stay in a hotel next to their house because for the shits? Has anyone ever said to you, you know what I like doing? Blowing $2,000. I just like it. I love it. Are you serious, lady?
House, it's this one, but I don't want to see you. Everything I've seen online, I don't know what the truth is anymore.
So it clicks in her head that maybe she needs to actually find out the truth of Mr. Bobby Jandu at this point. After 9 years of being in a relationship with what seems to be a wall, she has now finally come to the conclusion, I think I need to find out about Bobby. And she does the thing she thinks is desperate, which is calling a private investigator would have saved her years. But she calls one and is like, can you please tell me who Bobby Jandu is and where he's staying?
He must be with Sanj. I call the number. Sanj immediately answers, Bobby, is that you? Like she was expecting a call from Bobby. I feel like he's leading a double life.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Before she hires the private investigator, she calls the ex-wife up and thinks, okay, the ex-wife and him are still having like an affair. This is ridiculous. How could he possibly be double timing me? Doesn't put two and two together here. Is like, all right, I don't get it. I'm going to call my private investigator, see what's going on.
I'd come across a postcode for Sanj's parents' house. Sanj leaves a house. And I remember like one bit of me so angry, I want to just put my foot down the accelerator.
Yeah, okay, running people over because they exist is probably not the best idea. If you think someone's been cheating, you don't take it out on the person they're cheating with. Come on, firstly. Secondly, I again forgot that she went into crazy mode and instead of just getting a private investigator, she did her own private investigation. And it turns out, yes, indeed, Sanj is sleeping with Bobby. His ex-wife might become his real wife. He might remove the X and then put 2 more X's next to her name. Now she's his wife, XXX. They're gonna have hot XXX. You know what I mean? Wow, what's happening here?
I was so scared and I just search private investigator. I ask for Bobby's current address. Within 24 hours, I get an email.
Why would you not ask for more if it's been 9 years? Why would you not ask, is Bobby Jandu, has he ever been there? Has he been to this place? Can you tell me everything you know about this man? She's just like, I want one piece of information. I want the basic package. Just tell me his current address. Don't upsell me, please, private investigator. Just tell me where he is now. I can do the rest. I don't understand why she wouldn't do more than that, because I would definitely want to know more, especially if it's a private investigator whose job it is to do this. I don't know.
This is Bobby's current address, and I'm gearing myself up to see him. I ring the doorbell.
So, at this point, when I was watching the documentary, I was like, what the F word? Because some crazy stuff has happened. It leads her back to Brighton Beach, which is where she first met Bobby in the first place. They were at a party, and she, if you remember, she had said hello, and Bobby was like, what? And now we have Bobby sitting down in the couch, and it's like, whoa, he agreed to be part of this? Maybe he's going to tell us why he catfished her. But it turns out Bobby's as confused as the rest of us, actually.
We weren't expecting anybody. Went downstairs.
She says, "Hi, Bobby. It's me." My wife's Angie's like, "Bobby, who is this?"
Yeah, so now Bobby's opening the door. He's confused. She's like, hey, Bobby, it's me. And the wife is like, oh my God, you bitch. So both women are thinking that the other woman is the one that they're being cheated on with Bobby. For 1 minute, Bobby's testicles sink up into his nutsack and then go straight up into his butt because he's like, oh my God, these are going to be cut off if I keep them down below. Bobby is now the scaredest person in the room.
I have no idea who this lady is. Liar, she says.
Why are you lying to me? You've been talking to me for 8 years.
So I say to her, you might be confusing me for my younger brother, JJ.
For whatever reason, Kirat has now said, I'm going to go Super Saiyan mode. Just going to go all out. And instead of asking Bobby what the hell is going on, she's now like, you are lying to me. I know everything about everything. She's not really confused. She's just, for some reason, now becoming the person who's accusing him of doing things. I don't know how I would react. I'd be a bit more confused myself. I definitely feel like the emotions are all over the place. I'm not saying that she's wrong in feeling this way, but, you know, the situation a bit messed up. I guess the fact that Bobby's speaking in a normal voice suddenly seems to be fully healed. Everything else in Brighton Beach, I would have more questions than start like accusing people.
Then she looks directly at me, Sanj, and then she points at my son and says his name.
I've caught Bobby red-handed, but then my phone rings and it's Bobby.
Okay, red flag number 14 or 15. In the middle of talking to Bobby, she gets a phone call from Bobby. At this point, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, try and figure this out. But she, in a fit of rage, is like, that's probably your wife calling me, trying to make me seem like I'm not crazy. Not falling for that again.
And in my head, that's Sanj inside. You talk to Simran all the time, my cousin Simran.
The only Simran I know is this girl my brother dated.
So things are unraveling, right? She's not really figuring out yet that there's a phone call from Bobby. She's like, you're just trying to play me. You just don't want me around and stuff. And for whatever reason is like, I want to get to the bottom of this. She talks about her cousin Simran, and the guy's like, yeah, I know Simran used to date my brother, so that's the connection. And then she's like, I'm gonna call Simran, and then you guys are gonna hash it out. I'm gonna call the only person that knows about this.
So I called her.
I sort of interject, can I please speak to Simran? She says she's just confused. Give her the phone back and I'll try and figure out what's going on.
So they both talk to Simran, and now is like the craziest part. Instead of Simran defending or saying anything to like with her cousin, she's like, oh, my cousin's just a bit confused. But that's what she was saying to her cousin the whole time. So if she's saying they're both confused, you know what I mean? Something fishy about Simran. Something Simran under the surface, you know?
She looks at Sanj and says, I know you're staying at your parents' house because I've seen you there. We're calling the police.
I was blinded by like my rage and my tears. While I'm talking to her, Bobby messages me and it says, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, so she's on the way home calling Simran, and Bobby messaged saying, so you have seen everything. So Bobby was just pretending the whole time, and this was all a joke. And Bobby really was like, yeah, I just wanted to fool you for 10 years. I was just playing a prank. It's just a prank, bro. A 10-year prank gone wrong. Ha 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 ha. How do you feel about that?
For me, it's over.
Is it over now? Is it? Is it over? Finally. After 10 years and seeing that he's with another person and has a family, it's only over now. Thank God she made that decision. Otherwise, he would have still had a girlfriend, a wife, and a fucking child. That's really good, guys. Really good.
I wake up. Simran tells me that she's spoken with Bobby and that they called the police. So I'm like, I need to go to the police.
So Simran the next morning is like, look, everything's sorted out. Don't worry. We called the police. And unbeknownst to Kirat, She says, I'll also call the police, which sends Simran into a state of like, don't do that. I already called the police. And she unintentionally tripped off the wire in Simran's head, which now is coming across defensive. Something is going on.
I see a car pull up in the window. Simran gets out of the car and she says, I don't think I should come in. She's got quite a serious face.
So she pulls up. Simran, the cousin, pulls up. The New York jet setter pulls up. And she doesn't even come inside the house because she knows there's knives and other utensils there and is like, I have a secret for you. And I think you guys know where this is going, but we'll figure out why after.
She looks at me and she says, it was all me. I'm Bobby. I'm registering she means that she's been pretending to be Bobby.
It still took her seconds. She's like, I'm Bobby. And you're like, Bobby who? Wait, my Bobby? Like it really still took her a little bit there. So that's the big reveal. That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist that he should definitely direct this movie. It's Simran, her cousin, her girl cousin, who's been catfishing her for a decade. She's pretending to be Bobby, but not Bobby. Everyone else, including Bobby. She created the whole universe. She created a DC and Marvel universe based off of Indian characters. Some sort of racial harmony is going on here.
What about Sanj? What about Yash? So-and-so. She's like, it's all me. I was all of them. Who have I been sleeping on the phone with for the last 3 years? She says it was me.
Your cousin, which is very cute if you knew about it, but very, very weird if you didn't. So yeah, you were sleeping with your cousin.
I just kept screaming, why? Like, she's ruined my whole life. She's stolen the best years of my life. And all she could say was that I ruined my own life.
You know, I was thinking about this comment. I'm not going to agree with either of them, but I can actually see both of their sides. On the side of Kirat, I mean, how could you possibly think your own cousin is going to do this? Like, there's no way in your head you'd be like, yeah, it's my cousin. So you just wouldn't think that, obviously. And she has a right to feel like some of her years were taken away. On the other hand, Kirat also was so gullible that her cousin was just probably being like, I said the most dank shit and you just kept believing it. Like, at some point, the cousin was like, I'm just going to see what I can get away with here. Yeah, I've been shot. I've been in coma. Yeah, I have a wife. Yep. Have a baby. Yep. And like at some point it's like, yeah, she just keeps falling for it. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I could say that I went to the moon and she'd be like, bring me back a moon rock. So I don't know who to really believe here, but like, yeah, it just feels really stupid that on both of their parts. I don't know why a cousin would catfish someone, but like, the life has been ruined, but I don't know by who.
I received a message from Simran. It was basically me. How can she pretend to be me for so long? She's a girl.
Right, Bobby? The most fucking... That's exactly what I'm thinking, right? Like, I'm thinking about... Let's go back to the sensual stuff, right? I'm talking about Kirat and Simran. How can you pretend to be Bobby when she don't have that part? Now, I know she could go on the internet and take it and she's like, Indian PP, and then pull it up from Google. You know, maybe Kirat will believe that. But at the same time, it's like, he's in hospital. There's no way. Like, you need to send a hospital dick pic, which is a very specific type of one, right? I feel like there's some tells. I feel like there's signs. I don't know.
Doing it to her cousin, none of it made any sense. She goes on to say, I need counseling to help me work through it all.
Bitch, you need Jesus, the Lord, Satan, and SpongeBob, okay? Simran can get a special slap in hell where she belongs. I'm not excusing her from any of this. If your cousin is gonna do this stuff, they belong in jail, which I feel like she 100% should go to jail for this. But we'll get to that, okay? She says she needs counseling. If you do something for 10 years and then fess up to it, you don't need counseling. You need to be in jail.
If you would be willing to deal with it without the police, I respond, I will not be hiding anything from the police. Good luck.
Brighton police station, call me.
So to Bobby and Sanj, they talked to the police and they let that one go. And honestly, they're victims of the situation because they had no idea their personalities were being taken. Their pictures were being used without their consent. Wrong. Simran should go to jail for that because impersonation is illegal, of course. And doing it in this context, ridiculous.
Bobby told them that he had a confession from Simran and that I've been a victim of a crime. But when I do, the officer tells me I'm not a victim.
Unfortunately, when Kirat goes to the police, they say that she's not a victim. And I think, like, despite me saying that I just feel like she's been very gullible the whole time, I feel like it is almost with impunity that I can say she was a victim. I don't know which police officer can be like, oh yeah, my cousin catfished me. I'll just be like, that's my fault. If you send pictures to someone you think is someone else and it's explicit, that's not with your consent. So if someone's impersonating someone else to get those pictures, already that's illegal. If you're talking to someone who's impersonating someone else on a regular basis, if someone is doing things to you that could be seen as impersonation or coaxing you or any of those things, I feel like you'd have some sort of a case. Coercion, perhaps. I don't know. I know a lot of it's just like mental stuff, but like there's got to be a case here. This lady has definitely lost 10 years off her life. 5 of them was stupidity, but she's lost a few years because of the fact that her cousin is certifiably insane.
Say it was an intimate situation with Bobby. I haven't given any consent to Simran.
Yeah, right. She was jacking off to Bobby, right? Okay. And it was her cousin receiving the jack. I don't know what kind of cousin you have to be so crazy that you're like, yeah. How do you dirty talk your cousin as a guy? How do you cosplay as a guy dirty talking your cousin into sending you things that then you go and talk to your cousin the next day and pretend you didn't see that shit? How do you do that? What is the mindset of a girl like that? I don't even understand. Like if it's a guy cousin, I still don't understand it, but at least like more in the sense of like, oh, that's twisted as shit. But like, okay, I can link that one a little more. A girl cousin who's a baby cousin who's just like, I'm gonna grow up to make sure your life sucks. That's weird to me. I don't get it.
I immediately started trying to download evidence, Skype messages, hundreds of thousands of messages. We're talking about 10 years worth.
10 years she collects evidence, which should be sufficient for any police squad to be like, lady, what the fuck? Why did you not just stop this relationship? But she's collecting evidence as Simran's deleting it at the very same time.
I find out when Bobby's brother, JJ, added me on Facebook. It was actually Simran. Simran had dated JJ, but they had broken up.
Yeah, so that's the only actual connection. And I don't know, like to this day, they never really explain the why, which I feel like this documentary hugely misses out on because I feel like everybody questions why. And even if they don't say it, there should be some sort of theories as to what the fuck was going on and why a woman would do this to another person, right?
Starting from there, every character connected to JJ, Bobby, everybody is all Simran.
I mean, if you can keep a profile up where you have like 60, I think she says 60 people that Simran's been playing. If she can pretend to be 60 people, she probably should be going to like a psychiatric ward or something. Because like, that's not normal behavior. That's not human normal behavior. And the saddest part is that she gets away with like a slap on the wrist. Nobody's even like, they're just like, you can exist in society. So I don't know if she's catfishing her brother or her mother currently, but like something's happening.
I find 60 profiles. In pictures sent to me, Bobby's son was wearing clothes that we'd picked together. Those baby photos already existed on the real Bobby's Facebook page.
It's kind of sad that she never somehow went on Facebook and searched Bobby Jandu and then saw that he had another profile and then had that watershed moment. But she never at any point said, I'm going to search this up. Throughout their 10 years, she never questioned anything. And I'm not saying that you should blindly trust people, but like she literally blindly trusted this person. And this is what happened. So that's tough. That's really bad.
There's even been times when I've been with Simran and she'd be fiddling on her smartwatch and I would get a message from Bobby.
Oh, come on. So you're telling me you were talking with Simran and you're like, how's the weather? And then she's like, and then as Simran's talking, she could see a text from Bobby. Every time Simran like does this, send Bobby text every time. Bitch, is you for real? Oh, God. Oh, I want to feel sorry for her, but sometimes.
I think one of the reasons she did it was to feel a sense of power.
I was targeted just for somebody's entertainment, I think.
Perhaps, and this is definitely true. Maybe it is someone's psychotic will for power. Maybe it is the enjoyment of it, and she targeted someone she thought was weaker. But I'll tell you what, When you go to any city and people scam you, they scam the people who think are the weak ones. You know, when people hand out flyers or they're standing outside your grocery store getting you to sign up for shit that you do not want to sign up, they say hello to people who they think are going to reply. Nobody says it to me because they know I don't give a fuck. I'll punch you before I give you $5, sir. Okay? I'm just saying. People unfortunately target other people who are weak, and it is disgusting and horrible, and I hate the fact that humans do it. I hate it, but they do that. And at some point during the 10 years, I just wish she had realized that.
Somebody who knows you does this to you, you haven't got a hope in hell.
Yeah, and she ends with that saying, when someone you know is doing it, you don't have any chance. And that is true. That is true. So I guess the end of this, I'll say it now, I feel sorry for her because there's no way she could have known it was her cousin. And at the same time, I want to say I feel sorry for everyone else for how long she let it happen for. Because it's one thing to take an L, it's another thing to hold it like it's a baby, okay? And she held that L and raised it. It's crazy. She had been catfished for 9 years. She took action against her cousin. Even though Simran has not been charged or anything, she has issued a private apology.
I am now 44. Will I ever be a mum? You know, at my age now, it's a massive question mark, but I've got to be responsible for my future.
At the end, we have this uplifting music. Kirat is now 44 and she asked the question, will I be a mom? Which is a very tough thing. I mean, like, that's the saddest part of the whole thing, is that she started at 32 and I was like, oh shit, we don't even have much time here. And now she's 44, still questioning that. And there are ways, of course. You should never let someone bring you down like that. And, you know, I feel very sorry and very sad that that's happened to her. And I feel like she should never let her cousin defeat that. If she's going to have a kid, there's adoption, there's other ways to do it. And I hope that, you know, for her sake, that she does what she wants to in life, because this is a lot for someone to go through for no reason.
Simran never will be.
Simran was offered the opportunity to be interviewed and declined. She said that this matter involves events that began when she was a schoolgirl. She considers it a private matter, strongly objects to what she describes as numerous unfounded and damaging accusations. We never truly see her, and the person on the video is not actually Simran, it's just an actress, and many people have confused her for Simran, so nobody knows about her. Now, I did look up and try and find her because I was very annoyed at her, but I can't find her. And that is Sweet Bobby, a case where Bobby doesn't even really exist in this. I guess it goes to show a few things. One, never trust your cousins. Those people suck. So to all my cousins, if you're watching this, F you. You probably don't even watch to the end, you dirty scumbags. And two, don't spend 10 years on something you're not sure of. If you don't see someone, don't believe it, right? Seeing is believing truly, and like, I don't know how long you're willing to wait. I would give it a year or two. Long distance is tough enough, but if someone's not even gonna video call you, if someone's not gonna provide for you something, set a boundary. Be good to yourself. It's about time you be good to yourself, because if you're not, this happens, and then you'll stop blaming other people for the bad stuff. I'm very sorry that this happened to Kirat. I hate the fact that her cousin did it, but I hope she can learn that you just cannot go through life just believing everything you see. That's all I have for you. Thank you for this deep dive. I hope you watch anything else I do in the future, and until then, I will see you on the next one. Take care. I'll be in Paris in a few days. Crazy, I know. Watch Side Quest Suvi. Bye-bye.
I'm in a submarine. It's going down just like all of your dreams. I got phenomenal cream and I do beats wavy like sea. I get it wetter than water. I might just smash on your daughter. I might just trade in the sun for a Porsche, piping it down like a pauper.